Ethan was a cargo pilot, working at a large space station far from Earth. His job was simple. He moved goods from one place to another. The station was always busy with travelers, traders, and workers moving around. Today, something caught his attention. He had just finished unloading crates from his small freighter when he decided to stop by the lounge for a meal. The lounge was full, except for one table near the corner. At that table sat a girl he had never seen before. She was not human. Her skin had a soft silver tone, and her eyes were a deep shade of green that seemed to glow faintly. She sat very still, her hands folded on the table. No one was sitting near her. Ethan noticed the reason. The air around her carried a scent different from anything else in the room. It was not bad. In fact, it was warm and gentle. It reminded him of the wildflowers that grew in the hills near his childhood home. When he was a boy, he used to run through those hills every summer. He could still remember the smell after it rained. Now in this faraway station, that same scent was here, carried by this alien girl. He walked over and asked, "Is this seat taken?" She looked up surprised. Her voice was quiet. "No, you can sit." Ethan sat down. He could see her glancing at him now and then, as if she was trying to understand why he had chosen to sit there. The rest of the lounge kept their distance. Some even looked at him with confusion. "I am Ethan," he said. "Loraya," she replied. They sat in silence for a moment. Ethan could see she was not used to people talking to her. Finally, he said, "Your scent. It reminds me of home." Loraya tilted her head. "My scent?" "Yes. When I was a child, there were flowers on the hills near my home. They smelled like this. I have not smelled anything like it in years." She lowered her gaze for a moment, then said softly, "My people carry this scent because of the plants on our world. We grow up surrounded by them. It stays with us." Ethan smiled. "Well, I like it. It makes me feel calm." Loraya's eyes softened. "Most humans move away when they notice. They say it is strange." "Strange is not always bad," Ethan said. "Sometimes it means special." Loraya seemed to think about his words. She looked around the room, seeing how others avoided her, and she looked back at him. "Why did you sit here?" "Because you look like you could use some company," Ethan said honestly. Loraya's lips curved into the smallest smile. "Thank you." They began to talk. Loraya told him she had traveled far from her homeworld. She was carrying something important for her people. Ethan did not press for details. He could tell it was personal. In return, Ethan shared simple stories from his time as a pilot, told her about places he had visited and about the open skies over Earth. As they talked, a few rough-looking traders at another table began to whisper and point. Their voices grew louder. Ethan could hear them making comments about Lyria's scent. Lyra lowered her head, pretending not to hear. Ethan turned his head toward them and said firmly, "Mind your own table." His voice was calm but clear. The traders muttered something but stopped talking. Loraya looked at him with quiet gratitude. "People can be foolish," Ethan said. "But not everyone is like that." "I know," Loraya replied. "Still, it is rare." Ethan finished his meal and noticed the station clock. "I have to check my ship soon," he said. "But, if you want, we can meet again before I leave." Loraya nodded. "I would like that." As Ethan stood, the scent of flowers seemed to follow him for a moment. It felt strange, but in a good way. He did not know why he felt so comfortable around her. Maybe it was the scent. Maybe it was the quiet way she spoke. But he knew one thing. He wanted to see her again. Ethan returned to the lounge the next day. He had been thinking about Loraya all morning. When he stepped inside, he saw her sitting at the same table in the corner. She looked up when she noticed him, and a faint smile touched her face. He walked over. "Mind if I join you again?" "Please," she said. They sat down and they began to talk. Loraya seemed a little more relaxed than before. Her voice was still soft, but there was less hesitation in her words. "Did you sleep well?" Ethan asked. "Not much. I kept thinking about my journey," Loraya said. "There is still a long way to go." "You said you were carrying something important," Ethan reminded her. "Is it dangerous?" She shook her head. "Not dangerous, but it is rare. On my world, we have a plant that can heal many illnesses. It is part of our culture and our survival. I was chosen to bring it to a human colony. They have asked for help because of a sickness." Ethan listened closely. "So, you are delivering medicine?" "Yes. But it is more than that, Loraya said. It is part of my people's history. We share it only in times of great need. Ethan understood the weight of her task. And you are traveling alone? Loraya nodded. It was safer to travel quietly. But the plant is valuable. Some might want to take it and sell it. You think someone might try to steal it? Ethan asked. I think they already know it is here, she said. Yesterday, before you came, 2 men followed me. I managed to lose them in the market area. Ethan frowned. Did you tell station security? They would not care. To them, I am just a traveler from another world, Loraya said quietly. Ethan leaned back, thinking he had seen this kind of thing before. Rare goods always attracted the wrong kind of attention. I can help you, Ethan said. Loraya looked at him in surprise. Why would you? Because you were doing something good, Ethan replied. And because you should not have to face it alone. Loraya's eyes softened. I do not want to put you in danger. I can handle it, Ethan said simply. They shared a quiet moment. Ethan could still smell the floral scent that reminded him of his childhood. It made him feel calm, even as he thought about the trouble that might be coming. As they talked, the same group of traders from yesterday entered the lounge. They noticed Loraya and whispered to each other. Ethan saw one of them glance at her bag. Is that where you keep it? Ethan asked softly. Yes, Loraya said, keeping her eyes down. Then we need to move it, Ethan said. If they know, they might try something. Loraya agreed. They left the lounge and walked through the station's busy corridors. Ethan led her to the docking bay where his ship was parked. It was a small cargo freighter, but well kept. Inside, Ethan found a secure storage compartment and placed Loraya's bag inside. What? No one gets in here without my passcode, he said. Loraya looked relieved. Q. We will leave tomorrow morning, Ethan said. The colony is only 2 jumps away, but we will take a longer route to avoid attention. Loraya nodded. I will trust your judgment. They spent the rest of the day making small preparations. Loraya stayed close to the ship while Ethan handled fuel checks and supply runs. Whenever they passed people in the station, Loraya kept her hood up, avoiding attention. As evening came, they sat in the ship's small cabin. Ethan made them a simple meal. They talked about their different worlds. Loraya described the glowing forests of her home, where the air was filled with the scent of the plants that shaped her people's lives. Ethan told her about the open plains of Earth and the warm summer winds. By the time they finished eating, Ethan felt like he had known her for much longer than a single day. Rest tonight, Ethan said. Tomorrow we travel. Loraya agreed. But in her eyes, there was still worry. Ethan noticed it and silently promised himself that he would see her mission through, no matter what. The next morning, Ethan was already awake before the station lights shifted to day cycle. Checked the ship's systems, making sure everything was ready. Loraya appeared from the small sleeping cabin, her silver-toned skin catching the soft light. She carried herself quietly, but her eyes were alert. Are we ready to leave? She asked. Yes, Ethan said, but we will take the long route. Less chance of trouble. Loraya nodded. They left the docking bay and eased into open space. The stars stretched endlessly before them, and the hum of the ship's engines filled the silence. For a while, they sat without speaking. Then Loraya began to share more about her home. She described how her people learned to work with nature instead of against it, growing their villages among the tall, glowing plants. The scent he noticed came from those plants which were everywhere on her world. When we leave our planet, the scent stays, she said. It is part of us. Some see it as a gift. Others think it is strange. It is special, Ethan said. It makes me remember something good. That is not strange at all. Loraya's lips curved slightly, but then her face grew serious. Ethan, do you think the people following me will stop? No, Ethan admitted. If they know the plant is rare, they will try again. It's why we keep moving. Hours passed as they traveled. Loraya watched the stars while Ethan kept an eye on the navigation screen. But then a signal flashed. Another ship was behind them, closing in. Is it them? Loraya asked. Most likely, Ethan said. We'll keep ahead for now. He adjusted the course, taking them through a narrow asteroid field. Loraya watched quietly, trusting his skill. The scent in the cabin seemed stronger now, or maybe Ethan was just more aware of it. gave him a strange calm, even as he steered the ship through tight spaces. After losing the signal, they drifted into a quiet stretch of space. Ethan decided they could take a short break. He prepared a warm drink for them both. Lyraya took hers and began to hum softly. "What is that song?" Ethan asked. "It is from my people," she said. "We sing it to friends before they leave on a journey. It means we hope they return safely." "Can you teach me?" Ethan asked. Lyraya looked at him, then nodded. She sang each line slowly, and he repeated it. The words felt strange on his tongue, but she smiled each time he got closer to the right sound. When they finished, there was a rare warmth in the cabin. Ethan felt it was not just the drink or the song, but something deeper. Suddenly, a faint alarm beeped. Ethan checked the scanner. They're back. Same ship as before. Lyraya set her cup down. "What will we do?" "We keep them guessing," Ethan said. "Hold on." Push the engines harder, taking them toward a region of shifting space clouds. The colors outside the window twisted and swirled, making it hard to see. Ethan used an old smuggler trick, cutting the main engines and letting the ship drift. The pursuing ship flew past, not noticing them in the haze. When the danger passed, Lyraya let out a slow breath. "You are good at this." "It comes with the job," Ethan said with a small grin. They resumed their journey, this time staying in quieter lanes. Lyraya began to relax again, and they talked about the human colony they were heading to, explained how the plant would be prepared once they arrived. Ethan listened, realizing this mission was not just important to her people, but could save many human lives as well. As the ship moved forward, Ethan knew there would be more trouble ahead. But with Lyraya sitting beside him, her scent filling the air and her calm voice telling stories of her home, he felt ready to face it. The next day of their journey began quietly. The stars outside drifted past, and the hum of the engines filled the air. Lyraya sat near the front window, her eyes following the slow movement of the galaxies beyond. Ethan was at the controls, scanning for any signs of trouble. For a time it seemed peaceful. They shared a light breakfast and spoke about small things, like the kinds of music humans liked, or the food on Lyraya's homeworld. Ethan noticed she laughed more easily now, though it was still soft and brief. But the calm did not last. Ow. The scanner beeped again, louder this time. Ethan checked the display and saw two ships approaching from behind. "Two of them," Ethan said. "They're faster than before." Lyraya's face grew serious. "Are they the same people?" "One is the same ship from yesterday. The other is new," Ethan said. "Might be working together. What will we do?" "We fight if we have to, but I'd rather not." "We'll try to outfly them first," Ethan said. He pushed the ship's engines harder. The small freighter shook, but it kept speed. The pursuing ships fired a warning shot that flashed past their side. "They're not just trying to scare us," Ethan said. "They want us to stop." Lyraya held onto the arm of her seat. "If they board us, they will take the plant." "Then we won't let them board," Ethan replied. He steered sharply toward a nearby moon with a broken surface, full of craters and ridges. The freighter dove low, weaving through the rocky terrain. The chasing ships followed, firing again. Ethan's hands moved quickly on the controls, guiding them between the jagged walls. A blast hit close, shaking the ship. Alarms flashed, but the hull held. "Are you hurt?" Ethan asked. "I'm fine," Lyraya said, though her voice was tense. "Wait." Ethan spotted a narrow canyon ahead. "Hold on." "Got him." He guided the freighter inside. The path was tight, but the pursuing ships were larger and struggled to follow. One of them scraped against the canyon wall, slowing down. The second ship tried to keep up, but Ethan pulled the freighter into a hidden cave opening. Inside, it was dark and quiet. They shut down the engines, and the only sound was their breathing. The chasing ships passed by, their scanners unable to locate them in the dense rock. They waited in silence until the signals disappeared from the scanner. Lyraya let out a slow breath. "You saved it again. We're not safe yet," Ethan said. "We bought time." They left the cave and took a different route, avoiding main travel lanes. Ethan kept the ship at a steady speed, not wanting to draw attention. Lyraya sat beside him, her bag still locked in the secure compartment. "Ethan," Lyraya said after a while, "why are you helping me so much? You could have just wished me luck and walked away." Ethan glanced at her. "Because it matters. And because I know what it's like to be far from home, doing something that feels too big for one person. Liraya studied him quietly, then nodded. I am glad we met. The rest of the day passed without more trouble. As night cycle approached, they reached open space again. The stars outside seemed endless, and for a moment, everything was still. Ethan prepared a simple dinner. Lyra helped, slicing fruit from her world that gave off a faint glow. The cabin smelled like a mix of human food and the flowers from her home. It was warm and calming. After they ate, Liraya began to hum the song she had taught Ethan. He joined in, and for a short while, the dangers of the journey felt far away. But deep inside, Ethan knew that when they reached the colony, the final part of this mission might be the hardest. The final day of their journey began with a quiet sense of urgency. The colony was only a few hours away, but Ethan knew the pursuers might try one last time. Liraya kept her bag close, though it was still locked in the ship's secure compartment. She did not speak much, but her eyes stayed on the front window, watching the stars. Ethan kept the ship steady, scanning the radar every few minutes. For a while, there was nothing but open space. Then, as they approached the outer edge of the colony system, a red signal flashed. One ship appeared on the scanner, moving fast. They found us again, Ethan said. Can we reach the colony before they do? Liraya asked. Maybe, but it will be close. Hold on. He pushed the engines to full power. The freighter shook as it surged forward. Chasing ship closed in, firing warning shots. Ethan swerved, avoiding each blast, but they were running out of distance. They will not stop, Liraya said, her voice calm but certain. Then we make them stop, Ethan replied. We're steered toward a small asteroid field near the colony's edge. It was risky, but the cover might slow their pursuer. They weaved between the rocks, the ship's alarms warning of close passes. The enemy followed, but one sharp turn sent them into a narrow gap the larger ship could not enter. They're stuck, Liraya said, looking back. For now, Ethan said. Let's finish this. They broke free of the asteroid field and headed straight for the colony. The blue-green planet grew larger in the window, its surface dotted with lights from human settlements. Ethan sent a signal to the colony's port authority, requesting immediate landing. When they landed, a group of colony officials and medical staff were already waiting. Liraya stepped out first, carrying the bag with the plant. The officials bowed slightly in respect as she opened it, revealing the glowing leaves inside. We are grateful, one of the doctors said. This will help many. Liraya handed the plant to them with care. It must be prepared quickly. Sickness will fade once it is taken. The doctors hurried away, leaving Liraya and Ethan with the colony leader. You have done a great service, the leader said. Both of you. Liraya turned to Ethan. I could not have done it without him. Ethan shrugged lightly. You could have. It just might have been harder. Liraya reached into her pocket and pulled out a small glass vial. Inside was a single dried petal from the plant. This is for you, she said. It will keep its scent for many years. Ethan took it, feeling the light weight in his hand. The fragrance was gentle but strong, carrying the memory of the wildflowers from his childhood. Thank you, he said quietly. Liraya smiled, a real smile this time. When you smell it, think of home. Maybe think of me too. I will, Ethan said. They stood together for a moment, watching the colony workers move the plant into a secure building. The air was calm, but Ethan felt a strange pull inside. He knew this was the end of their journey together, at least for now. Where will you go next? Ethan asked. Back to my people, Liraya said. There is much to tell them. Maybe our paths will cross again, Ethan said. Liraya looked at him with a steady gaze. I believe they will. She stepped onto a transport that would take her to a long-range vessel waiting in orbit. Ethan watched as the craft lifted into the sky, becoming a small light against the clouds. He stood there for a while, the vial still in his hand. The scent drifted up to him, warm and familiar. It was more than just a memory of flowers now. It was a reminder of trust, courage, and the quiet bond between two travelers from different worlds. As he walked back to his ship, Ethan felt certain that somewhere in the vastness of space, their paths would meet again.